If you are thinking about leaving California and selling your house, there's a few things I need you to understand you're gonna need to do for your buyer. And yeah, we'll talk about some of the changes that have happened with NAR, National Association of Realtors, but really spring selling season, spring of 2024, we're in it to win it right now, and you're gonna wanna know these handful of things. So let's talk about it right now. Let's just get into it. If you are new here, let me introduce myself. I am Angel Przybylski, a local Bakersfield realtor. You've reached the Living in Bakersfield channel. 9 times out of 10, I'm making videos about moving to Bakersfield and calling this place home. But today, I am talking to you about selling and leaving California. It's a big topic. I have a whole playlist about leaving California and introducing you guys to other realtors in other states because I'm helping people leave. We realtors are reading the room. We get it. California is kind of getting to be a hot mess. So let me help you if you're thinking about selling, leaving California, and what you need to know about with your buyer. So like I said, the National Association of Realtors has been sued. They're making all these changes. There's going to be things that you as a seller are going to need to talk about with me as your realtor or whomever you're working with about commission. And I'm just going to be straight up with you. Not much has changed. They just made it look like a lot has changed. So you as a seller are always going to be the one that is in charge of who gets paid. Me as your listing agent or your realtor as the listing agent, and then the realtor that's bringing your qualified buyer. So historically, that has been something that we would talk about as me as your listing agent. We would discuss that. Here's what, I can negotiate as far as my rate that I work for versus what the other portion is going to go to the buyer side. And that is listed on the MLS for all the world to see. When I'm selling your house, we discuss my commission and then the commission that you're going to offer to the other side. That is no longer going to be seen or known. You and I will then have a discussion about if I'm allowed to share that out with them when they submit an offer or call about receiving an offer on your house. So the way the National Association of Realtors makes these rules that we all have to trickle down and follow is like NAR, then CAR, California Association of Realtors, then my local Kern County Real Estate Board, and then my brokerage. So that's the way it all works. Depending on where you're watching this from, they are probably going to be doing the same thing as well. Nonetheless, the rule has changed. You and I will negotiate, but it won't be out there for all the world to see come August of 2024. The next thing you're going to need to get in order is if you've had any kind of a claim with your homeowner's insurance on your house in the time that you've lived there. And now here's a caveat to that. Even if you call your homeowner's insurance and say, hey, we had a leak in the roof, we need to have that repaired. And they say, oh, we're not going to cover that. That still gets logged. There's this giant system that they all use, and they can see that you made a call about the homeowner's insurance. I'm not here to worry you or make you freak out about that, but unless that claim or that phone call, whatever happened there when they said we're not going to cover it, is closed or finalized out, that will show up for your buyer. I'm having that scenario right now with some clients. I'm selling their house and they had to call their homeowner's insurance and say, we have a leak, and the homeowner's insurance said, we don't cover that. And they were like, oh, okay. So not only was it less expensive for them to cover it because it was under the deductible anyway, but the claim was still hovering that they had called their homeowner's insurance. So their buyer is trying to get homeowner's insurance, and it comes up as like, oh, there was a claim on this house. So now my sellers have to call their company and say, hey, can you close that out? You guys didn't pay it. We didn't make the claim and we paid for it on our own. They had the receipts. And so we're in that process now. As we know, there are several companies that are no longer issuing policies in the state of California. I'll leave that conversation for another video, but nonetheless, it's getting harder and harder to get homeowners insurance in our state. So when you're selling, you need to have full disclosure for your buyer about anything that might have happened with your homeowner's insurance, because we need to make it as easy as possible for them to get homeowner's insurance on your house. The third thing, as you know, California, we love our solar, especially here in Bakersfield. Solar is a conversation all the time. I'm gonna need to know all the ins and outs of your solar. Is it owned? Is it a lease? Is it a power purchase agreement? I'm gonna need to know what your monthly payment is, whether it's owned, leased, or power purchase, and then also a true up. If you have any kind of a true up, we need to know that because your buyer is gonna need to know all that information. And there will be a time when you need to say, okay, we're under contract. My buyer's name is Joe and Jane Doe. They are buying the house. Their email is blah, blah, blah. And they are now going to be the ones that will be the owners of the house with the solar on it. Then there will be a fee for you as the seller that you will pay. That's a one-time fee generally. And you pay that and then they go, okay. And then they reach out to the buyers. And the buyers get qualified to take over your lease, to get everything transferred in their name, all the warranties, all the guarantees, anything that might be associated with your solar contract that you currently have, everything needs to be transferred over for your buyer. So as many and as much documentation as you can come out with, bring it, baby, because they're gonna want it. If you are new here, do not forget to like and subscribe. This is something that I am providing to you on a weekly basis. Plus I do live streams and I have some shorts that pop up every once in a while. And I'm always talking about things to do and some of the more local activities. So if you are new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's a favor that you're doing to me. And then I let YouTube know, and YouTube knows that I know, and everybody knows. Anyway, it's a thing. I would be grateful. And if you don't want to do that, leave me a comment. Let me know if you sold, if you left California, how it went. I want to hear all the things. Or if you're thinking about it, I'm your girl. The next thing we need to do, obviously, is figure out what your payoff is, what your loan payoff is going to be. So if you owe $163,000, that's going to actually be probably a little bit more on the payoff because they calculate property taxes and insurance on your loan when they pay it off. And are we moving that to a new property? Are you just going to go live your life in your RV? Are you leaving California and you're moving to Kansas, or you're moving to some of the other beautiful states that, you know, many people are moving to? Tennessee is a big one. Idaho is a big one. Florida is a big one. Boy, oh boy, am I moving a lot of people to those states. But all that to say, we need your loan balance payoff so that I can let escrow know, okay, the proceeds from this sale are going to go toward, you know, 1234 Sesame Street over in Tennessee, and that's the house that they're buying. Or we need, you know, XYZ amount from these proceeds to go toward that house, and then the rest of it is going to go into their bank account. You can do both. All of it just has to be decided on the front end so that escrow can work it out on the back end when we actually close escrow. And then the final thing, I don't know that I've ever really shared this on this channel, but there's two things that I provide for people that I work for when I'm selling their house to move them into something bigger, better, and awesomer, or to help them move out of state. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm paying for this service as your agent. So when we are setting your house up to go on market, I will pay for my stager to come. She and I usually take a couple of hours and we go through the house. You can be there if you want to, you don't have to. Sometimes people get a little weird about moving their stuff around. So we make every room look as pretty and as defined and as welcoming as it possibly can. And then I do my best to get pictures either that afternoon or the following morning so that you don't have to, like, you know, worry about keeping something in a certain position or state for too many days. I want to have the staging done in the morning and then pictures in the afternoon, or staging in the afternoon and pictures in the morning, so that it's ready to go. And then after we get pictures and video, it goes up on market. So then the other thing that I do, so I take care of the front end with the staging and we get it all ready for pictures and video. Then after we've closed escrow, my housekeepers come in to your house and they clean it top to bottom, inside out, and sideways. They know what my protocol is. I want baseboards, I want ceiling fans, windows inside and out, sinks, bathrooms, tubs, washers, dryers if they're left, or the space where they used to be, cupboards, they clean out the drawers. They do everything. We have a certain protocol when the house is vacant, and that is what they do. And usually you are long gone. And the reason I do that is twofold. So I just want you as my seller to pack and move. I don't want you to pack and move and clean. That's exhausting. It always starts out with a nice, like, yeah, I'm gonna clean this out for my buyer. I'm gonna make sure that they understand. No, it doesn't matter. I don't want you messing with it. The second thing is that nobody understands how other people live and clean. It doesn't matter if it's your Nana, if it's your mama, if it's your bestie, if it's your spouse. It doesn't matter. Nobody lives and cleans the same way. Nobody. So what happens with your buyer is they come in and they get a clean slate. The dishwasher has been cleaned out and sanitized. The sinks, the mirrors, everything is taken care of so that there's no target on your back, because I can't tell you the number of times before I was in a position to do this that I would have people being like, who taught them how to clean? And what did they do with the garbage disposal? And I mean, it was a thing. So Believe me, this is something that relieves a lot of that from your back, that target from your back. And then it also just makes it easier for the buyer. They can just move in their crap. They don't have to pay for that as well. It's a gift that I give to your buyer after we've gone through transaction and closed escrow. So taking care of the staging on the front end and the housekeepers on the back end. If you are thinking about selling and you would like to have some of your own questions for your own situation, feel free to reach out to me. My information is in the description below. Until then, I will see you around town.